Hello, members of my clan. This is the man, the myth, the legend, the head of the clan, Six Meister here, talking to you with a new what if. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, comment down below what your favorite part of the video was. We also now have a new channel called the Avatars of this Meister clan. It is me doing collabs with other smaller YouTubers. If you feel eligible for this, join my Discord and talk about it. Also, I now have a TikTok by the same name, Sixmeister, and the ad will be in the description. I basically recap what is gonna happen the next day in the next new what if, days or maybe even weeks earlier than they actually happen. But without further ado, let's get into this. Yesterday, this 100 sub special dropped, so I suggest you go watch that after this. So this is basically what if Asta combined with the anti-magic demon or fused with him. So how this is gonna work when the anti-magic demon entered the grimoire, because it wasn't really set up for him to enter it, his consciousness basically got erased. So it was basically raw power and knowledge in there. So everything happens canon until Asta and Yuno get back to Hajj village. When they get there, they start training. About 2 or 3 days have gone by, and Asta accidentally discovers his demon form because of the amount of raw power being leaked without any restraint from the anti-magic demon himself, because his consciousness was destroyed. After entering this form, Asta bolts with the giant sword towards Yuno, badly injuring him because he could not defend himself with his wind magic. Nobody holds this against Asta because they think this was an accident, and they know he doesn't have control of his magic because this is a rather new thing to him, for he has never used magic before, and until now they believe that he didn't have magic. But nonetheless, Asta decides to run away because he feels that he'd be endangering people of Hajj village just by having the magic he had, because he's always sensed an ominous aura around it. 2 days pass, and about little over a week has passed since he got his grimoire, and he's now training in a high mana area between the Clover and Diamond Kingdom. He was still in his demon form when he evacuated, thus he bolted there within no time. He was practicing, now having spread a second wing, and now both sides and both arms are covered in darkness, and one slight horn has appeared. But he slices through the air. Because of the thick mana within the air, it creates a giant anti-magic black slice, and he passes out because he's been training almost over 24 hours without taking any sort of break. We then cut to see a shadowy figure. This figure is obviously a woman by her voice alone. She thinks at first that this is a mage or some sort of magic knight or anything similar to that from the Diamond Kingdom, so she decides to go check it out. What she finds is a 16-year-old boy. He looks like he's around 14 because of his of how short he is, but nonetheless he looks rather toned, and he has a giant black sword laying next to him. She thinks that it probably has something to do with his magic and decides to take him back to her camp. By the time he wakes up, the shadowy figure, still being more or less obscured, asks him if that sword has anything to do with his magic. He, being surprisingly calm, only confused about where he was, decides to put away his sword. His anti-magic sword is then shoved into his grimoire and disappears. He explains that he has something he describes as anti-magic. She asks if he can explain. He says, well, I don't really know, because I have knowledge that should not be in my head. At this point, the anti-magic demon's soul, or his knowledge center, is merging with Asta. So Asta has general knowledge about the demon realm, and general knowledge you just don't forget, like how politics work, how mathematics work, how to talk, like things like that. He would know things like that, basic things that everyone knows in the back of their heads without really having to try and think about it to know. So he explains that he is merged with a demon, but the demon somehow died before it got there, and he explains everything. And an hour has passed already, night has properly befallen, and the moon is shining brightly. The woman then steps in front of the fire and says that her name is Melodiona Verminion and she is a royal from the Clover Kingdom. He explains that he is from a village within the borders of the Clover Kingdom called Hodge Village, and he ran away because he hurt one of his friends. Believing that he has anti-magic, wants to test it out. He decides to oblige her but only uses his sword because that's the only part he has. He then starts swinging the sword around as she's throwing flames, and it's cutting clear through them, and after a while she starts actually taking it serious because anti-magic is a big threat. She then fights with more intensity and starts using Mana Zone, thickening the amount of mana in the air, and when Asta sees that she is no pushover and she's probably one of the strongest magic knights there are, so he decides to power up into his demon form. He does. She sees this as interesting, but probably just another quirk of being half demon or whatever he described it as. So she attacks with more ferocity, but he manages to cut through every single attack, even though it wears him down quite a bit. But she was still going easy on him. She wasn't doing it too fierce, but she was pushing him to his limits. She sees that he has potential, and she offers to train him for the next 2 years. By the next 2 years, I mean because in this one, you are 16 when you gain your grimoire, and you have to be 18 to enter the Magic Knight, so that gives you a 2 year leeway for you to practice and get used to your magic and even come up with cool battle strategies. So that's what they're gonna do. She decides to train him, and we're gonna have a time skip. In this time skip, I'll explain what happens right now. Melodiona and Asta become close, not like friends, but more intimate. Yes, she is a lot older than he is, but they are the only company there to keep each other. And if you don't know, everything in the Black Clover timeline is gonna be moved up until Asta and Yuno are 18. So everything's still gonna happen, it's just gonna be pushed a few years forward. And Melodiona's trip is gonna end a few years later. So what happens is she trains him, and he has a special ability called Anti-Mana Zone. And this isn't a big area, but if you come to within hand-to-hand combat range of Asta, you cannot use physical enhancement type magic or Mana Zone yourself. So there would be no benefit of going close to him. But magic from outside could still enter it, but it would be vaporized within seconds. So the only thing that would really make sense is probably light or dark magic, creating some sort of spear to shoot at an extreme speed to get to Asta. But by then he can use his sword. He has now more control over his black form, and he can manipulate his sword as he wants. Not only can he make it longer, shorter, stronger, but he can also morph its form at this time. He also learned how to read the language within his grimoire because of his demon side, and he sees the alterations to the original, and this is called the Demon Slayer Sword. The rest of the pages he still cannot read because this is no normal grimoire. He needs to unlock each page, but he only has 2 pages unlocked, one at the front of the book and one nearing the back of the book, being the demon form and the anti-magic Demon Slayer Sword. And he has overall mastery of this, and he can basically fly. He's stronger than he was in canon, maybe even after the Elf arc when he goes through that extreme training sessions or that extreme time of pure training within the Heart Kingdom arc where he becomes all buff like, but in this one he doesn't become more buff, but he becomes that powerful and could even rival a Magic Knight captain. So what happens is that in this 2 years, somewhere in it, some moves were made, and instead of seeing each other as boyfriend and girlfriend, Melodiona and Asta sees themselves as mates, eternal soulmates, like people who will always be together and always be attracted towards each other because of their personality, to become stronger and stay stronger and protect the people they love. That is their goal, and thus Asta wants to become the Wizard King and gain ultimate control over his magic. And now they go towards the Clover Kingdom. It is still a week or 2 weeks before before the Magic Knight entrance exam happens, but they arrive within the Clover Kingdom within a week, so they have a week of leeway. Melodiona then takes him to the Vermilion residence, or the castle, or whatever you want to call it. She introduces Asta as her mate or her future husband. Everyone is shocked that she's not even considered taking a noble. They do have slight disagreements, but they know that Melodiona could probably kill any of them, so they'd rather shut the fuck up. But two curious characters, obviously being Foigolion and Leopold, they are more than happy to accept someone as strong as Asta into their house because in this 2 years' time, every now and then Melodiona would send some messages or notes to home explaining who Asta is and that he would be brought back with her. Not often, she would maybe send one letter every 6 months, so they maybe have 4 letters mentioning Asta and how strong and how kind he is, and about his aspiration of being the Wizard King. After meeting them, both Leopold and Foigolion meeting him, Foigolion decides to challenge him because he believes his sister needs someone he knows is strong. Asta, knowing that Foigolion is someone very strong, decides he's gonna go all out from the start, and Melodiona explains to Foigolion that he probably should as well. So when the fight starts, Asta immediately powers up into his demon form with the 2 wings, and he grabs out his sword that he now shaped as a broadsword, slightly smaller than his, but it's still very strong and very heavy. No normal person should be able to lift it because of its weight, and it can still cleave through magic. The fight begins, and Asta is able to swing this sword a lot easier because of its small form. This fight wasn't even long before Foigolion had to activate a skill called Mana Zone, which Asta has seen too many times and learns counter. So what he does is he gets up and close, activates Anti-Magic Zone, and starts beating on Foigolion because he did not expect him to be able to get his magic as soon as he got close to him. But Foigolion could still do hand-to-hand combat, but not use enhancement. Even though he is a captain, he is being beaten down by this child. This person who is basically stronger than all the Magic Knight captains and might even rival Julius himself. But as we all know, that is not the level he is at yet. And in this time, the combination or fusion process has been completed to full maturity, where Asta can his hair would go black as soon as he activates his anti-magic, and he can fully control each of his demon powers he has shown in canon. He has anti-magic zone and has all the knowledge that he should have regarding the demon world and how demons get incarnated into our world and the influence they have on our world, and how the anti-magic demon was still treated badly because of what type of magic he has and the class system and many things like that. But he does not have memories or anything close to that. So he has basic knowledge of the demon realm and even a lot about the human realm, like the elves, and a lot about that because a part of the knowledge is how you can get a grimoire and all the basic races of the human worlds being dwarfs, elves, humans, and some others that have not yet been mentioned. He knows that demons have done a lot to our world and probably will do much more in the future. It is not explained that he has demon magic, but a form of anti or darkness magic, which Melodiona classed it as. He has a 5-leaf grimoire, and in these 2 years, as his powers evolved, the cover cleared up, and you can clearly see it is a black cover, like when it was first turned into a 5-leaf grimoire. You can clearly see the 5-leaf clover, but no one really understands what it is, but they think it has to be extremely powerful. Seeing that this boy, Asta, who is now fully grown, has basically beaten down one of the strongest, arguably almost the strongest person in the kingdom, they accept him with open arms because they think he might rival Julius, easily beaten any of the Magic Knight captains. So no one actually has any regrets or have anything against him. Foigolion and Foigolion and Leopold have both told Asta that he would be their rival for chair of the Wizard King, and for Leopold to become the strongest magic knight ever. Then, after the just before the actual meeting, all the royals would gather together of all the houses, and people would be suspicious of Asta and about how no one wants them there. He then challenges the strongest from them, and if you would have think it, there's only one person that steps up. Nozel, or Noel's eldest brother, steps up because he heard that Asta is beyond even forgoing himself, so he wishes to challenge him himself using his Mercury magic. Asta knowing that this is a powerful foe, but he wants to get this over with and have people just back off. So he goes all out from the start, activate Anti-Mana Zone immediately. Nozel, not really expecting this, gets caught off guard and gets slapped around. He would then say that he caught him off guard and activate a Mana Zone of his own, but still get beat down nonetheless without much effort from Asta's side. People would be really impressed and happy that he is on their side and decide not to piss him off. So he is accepted as a married royal because a few hours before the actual Magic Knight exam, it is legalized that they are legally married, but there must still be a ceremony. So that would happen, and now Asta is known as Asta Vermilion, and probably might even inherit the name of Head of the Vermilions, depending on what happens. If Foigolion actually becomes Wizard King, then Asta and Leona would have to take over as the heads of the Vermilions, and if he doesn't, he would take Fogolion himself would take over as the head. So depending on how the story turns out, it might change. But this has been a long time, and I think 17 minutes is good enough. So if you enjoyed, remember to check out my Discord, check out my TikTok for early spoilers, because the first thing Sixer Fixer 666, how it is said in the description, so specific, and so you can have like a week or even a month early what is gonna come out and what to expect from it. The 100 special came out yesterday, or 13 to 14 hours early, so earlier than this. So check that out; it's pretty interesting. And this is gonna have a second part. Basically, the second part of this came out tomorrow at the same time as this came out, so remember to check for that. And we should not forget that you should like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This has been your boy Six. I hope all of you enjoyed very much, so peace out.